Hi students, in this video I am discussing about scheduling concepts. So in the last classes we have seen about process management. So in this video I have planned to discuss scheduling, categories of scheduling and some of the policies. So basically scheduling means the process of selecting the program or process to be executed next. When a large number of programs are submitted by the user to the operating system has to decide one of the program to be executed next. This selection process, we call it as scheduling. So scheduling, it is carried out based on many of the policies. Like some of the policies, they select the process based on the time, based on size of the program, or based on priority, and so on. There are many of the scheduling policies. Different operating systems, they use different scheduling policies to achieve their goals. But however, broadly, these scheduling policies, they are divided into two types. They are non-preemptive scheduling and preemptive scheduling. So non-preemptive scheduling, these are the policies in which the process is executed till its completion. Once the process is chosen for execution, it is executed till its completion. It is never preempted or suspended before it completes the execution. Such kind of policies we call as non-preemptive scheduling policies. The very good example for non-preemptive scheduling policies are first come, first serve, FCFS, and short, shortest request next. It is also called as SJF, that is shortest job first. Then we have preemptive scheduling policies. So these are the policies in which a process can be suspended before it completes its execution. And the suspended process or preempted process, it is kept back into the scheduling list and it will be resumed when it is scheduled again. So in preemptive scheduling policy, a process can be suspended or preempted during its execution. Say for example, if you have priority based scheduling, so in that case, if a low priority process is under execution, when a high priority is submitted, when a high priority process is submitted to the operating system, the low priority process which is under execution is preempted, means it is suspended and CPU is allocated to a high priority process. And that low priority process which was suspended can be taken for execution after completion of high priority process. So this kind of uh, scheduling policies, they belong to preemptive scheduling policies. The very good example for preemptive scheduling policies include round robin scheduling policy. Simply it can be named as RR policy, and least completed next, that is LCN. So these are the examples for preemptive scheduling policies. Okay, students, then we are going to discuss about scheduling events. So please look at the diagram. This diagram shows how exactly the scheduling events will be taking place. So in the textbook, the process or program is also referred to as request. In the textbook, the author will use one more word called request. So remember, a request is also a process. It is also a process, or it may be a program. Okay. So when the requests are submitted to the operating system, these requests, they arrive into the system and they are stored in the list called arrived requests. So this event we are going to call it as arrival. Okay. The arrival event indicates that the process has arrived into the system. Okay. Once these arrived requests, that is arrived programs, they are admitted into the operating system, they are considered as pending requests. Pending requests are those which are admitted by the operating system after submission by the users. Okay. Now the scheduler is going to select one of these pending requests for execution. Okay, here we have scheduler part of the operating system. The scheduler selects one of the program from this pending request for execution. Okay, this selection is based on the policy which is employed by the operating system. The selected request, that is scheduled request, it is executed by the server. Okay, here server means it is either CPU or operating system. Once the process completes its execution, that process is removed from the pending request. This event we call it as completion event. Completion event indicates that the process has completed its execution. Then we have seen schedule event. Schedule event indicates that the process is being selected for execution by the scheduler. Okay. Then while the process is under execution, that process may be suspended due to say high priority process. In that case, the suspended process or preempted process, it is kept back into the list of pending requests again. So this suspended process can be taken for execution after completing a high priority process. So here, one more event what we have seen is preempt. So preemption indicates that the process is suspended and it is kept back into the list of pending requests. So in concern to scheduling, we have totally 4 events. Arrival indicates that the process has arrived into the system. Then schedule indicates that the process is scheduled, means it is selected for execution by the scheduler. Then preempt indicates that the process is suspended. The process is suspended and it is kept back into the list of pending requests. The event completion indicates that the process has completed its execution. Okay, students, here we have some of the important parameters with respect to scheduling. So actually these parameters, they are important while analyzing the scheduling policies. We are going to discuss these parameters one by one. First one, we have service time. So service time, it is denoted by using symbol XI. So I indicates I indicates ith service time. Here XI can also be treated as execution time, which is also referred to as service time. So it is the time required for the process to complete its execution once it gets CPU. Once the CPU is available for the process, whatever the time that process requires to complete its execution, we call it as service time. So it is denoted by using symbol XI. Then we have arrival time. Already we have discussed. Arrival time indicates the time at which the process has arrived into the system. So arrival time we indicate by using symbol A. Here AI indicates the arrival time of the process I. That is, the arrival time of ith process we indicate by using symbol AI. Then next we have completion time. It is the time at which the process is going to complete its execution. The time at which the process completes its execution is called as completion time. And this completion time, it is denoted by using symbol CI. CI means completion time of ith process. Then next we have turnaround time. It is denoted by using symbol TA. Again, I indicates it's for ith process. Turnaround time, it can be defined as the time since submission of the process to till its completion. So according to this definition, it can be computed as the difference of completion time Ci, completion time Ci minus AI, that is arrival time. The difference of Ci and AI, completion time and arrival time, is called as turnaround time. So turnaround time, more precisely, it can be defined as the time since submission of the process or request to till its completion. Next, we have mean turnaround time. Very simple. It's nothing but the average of turnaround time of all the processes in the system. In case if you have multiple processes, say for example, if you have 5 processes, then the mean turnaround time can be computed as sum of turnaround time of all the 5 processes divided by 5. So mean means it's the average turnaround time. Next, we have weighted turnaround time. The weighted turnaround time, it can be defined as the ratio of turnaround time to the service time. It's the ratio of turnaround time to service time. So turnaround time already we have seen, it is completion time minus arrival time, and service time is nothing but xi, that is execution time. So weighted turnaround time, it can be computed as TAI, that is turnaround time of ith process divided by execution time of ith process. Remember, execution time means it is service time. So these are very important parameters. You try to remember these parameters. So in the next class, we are going to use these parameters while analyzing the performance of scheduling policies. Then in the today's class, I would like to discuss even one of the policy, that is FCFS. FCFS, it stands for first come, first serve. As we discussed in the previous slide, it belongs to non-preemptive scheduling policy. So first come, first serve, it is a policy which belongs to non-preemptive scheduling category of policies. Here, as the name itself indicates, the process or request that is scheduled, the request or processes, they are scheduled in the same order as they arrive in the system. First come, first serve means the processes or programs, they are scheduled, means they are executed in the same order as they arrive into the system. So in this case, the operating system is going to maintain the arrival time for each and every process. So depending on this arrival time, it is going to decide which program is to be executed next. That's why we say that FCFS, here the requests or processes, they are scheduled in the same order as they arrive into the system. To implement FCFS, the operating system is going to employ a queue data structure. Queue means it is something like the queue which you can observe while collecting the tickets or while paying the bill and so on, right? So simply a queue data structure is used to implement first come, first serve policy by the operating system. Here what happens is, when a new process is created, that new process is added at the end of the queue. To implement first come, first serve, always the new processes, they are added at the end of the queue. And remember, the scheduler always selects the first process from the queue. You'll be having n number of processes in the queue. The operating system or scheduler, always it is going to select the first process, that is from the beginning of the queue, it will choose for execution. Okay. Then remember, first come, first serve, it is of course fair scheduling policy. Based on the time, the operating system is going to decide which program is to be executed next. The process which has come first is going to be served first. But on the other hand, Here, what happens is the shortest request. The small programs are small processes. They suffer from high turnaround time. Though the programs are processes, they require less execution time. They require to wait for more time in case if the operating system adopts first come first serve policy. So this is like one of the limitation we can say in case of FCFS. Students, this is all about today's class.